woman finds letter that reveals the devastating truth about her family. For children, it is a natural curiosity to explore their origins and heritage, especially in a world where they struggle to find out who they really were and where they belonged. However, sometimes knowing too much can cause more harm than good, and one Sarah Jayne tried hard not to crumble under the new pressure which had been pushed upon her. For as long as she could remember, Sarah Jayne knew she didn't belong. Her parents, Malcolm and Angela, meant well and told her that she was adopted right from the start, though that was probably obvious given that she was a black girl in a white family. The two wanted to try and give a great life to Sarah Jayne and her adopted brother, who was also black, but they couldn't protect them from society. Growing up as one of the few black people in a white middle-class town, Sarah Jayne struggled with the otherness she felt that was made worse by the people around her who constantly reminded her that she was different. Some would stare from afar and judge, while others would invade her privacy, even touching her hair without permission, and she soon fell into a deep depression and fantasized about a life she could have had. Due to this feeling, Sarah Jayne soon found a silver lining which helped her keep going: a desire to know who her real parents were. Her adoptive parents wouldn't tell her anything about the past, but Sarah Jayne, lost and confused, desperate to find answers, wanted to know more. But when she went through her adopted parents' belongings, hoping to find a clue, she wasn't ready for what she would find. There was a letter hidden away in a trunk, and it was written by her biological mother, who explained the whole story of Sarah Jayne's birth and why she had been adopted. The story began not too far from where she lived, in a university in England. Sarah Jayne's birth mother was attending that university when she met the love of her life, a white man from South Africa. She fell so deeply in love with him that she took a big leap and moved to South Africa with him when she had to leave the UK. She thought she'd be happy. She was wrong. The life with her new husband was nothing like she had imagined, and she soon felt lost and hopeless. But then she found comfort in the embrace of another man, one who was born black. Besides threatening her marriage, the affair also had much bigger consequences. This was because, at the time, South Africa was under apartheid, enforcing segregationist policies that were racist against any non-white citizen, and the interracial lovers knew that what they were doing would only get them into more trouble, but they found it difficult to stop meeting. Sarah Jayne's mother was soon thrust out of the frying pan and into the fire when she soon realized that she was pregnant, but the question was, who was the father? The expecting mother desperately hoped that her baby would be white to avoid the persecution that ran rampant in South Africa and to salvage her marriage. When the infant was born, she was named not Sarah Jayne, but Caroline, and her skin was a more acceptable ivory tone which made the mother sigh in relief. But that relief was short-lived. The newborn's skin began to darken, revealing the truth about her parentage, and her mother's husband was, of course, furious when he discovered the truth. After the shocking reveal, the new parents and their doctor devised a plan to give away the baby to a family far from South Africa, and they found a couple right away back in England. Sarah Jayne was devastated to learn that she didn't even belong in the family who had given birth to her, and that even her own mother would reject her, seeing as the woman had apparently told her family and friends that her baby had died at birth. At the age of 13, Sarah Jayne overdosed, and for the next 13 years, continued to struggle with her mental health issues. I felt this feeling of how dreadful must one be as a person, that one person on earth who is supposed to love you and care for you and nurture you no matter what, Sarah recalled, was able to do what my biological mother had done, which was to give away her child. Despite the pain she felt, Sarah Jayne soon soldiered on, making it to university to study law. It was at this point that she took the plunge and reached out to her birth mother, wanting to know more about her parentage and herself. But the letter sent back was curt and heartless, as the woman who gave birth to her explained that she was the worst mistake she did and she wanted nothing to do with her. It was another blow to Sarah Jayne's emotional state, but she still didn't give up and wanted to know who her father was. Finding him would be no easy feat, but Sarah Jayne was out to reclaim her true identity. She had the courts erase Caroline from her birth certificate and changed her name to Sarah Jayne for good. And when she traveled to her home country of South Africa, she felt as though she had been reborn. "I've been here before," she said, "and I belong." Soon, she connected with her birth father, who, in sharp contrast to her mother, seemed to care for her and made her feel at home. The bond they soon shared compelled her to take on his surname, Makwala, but her journey was just beginning. Eventually, Sarah Jayne Makwala King embarked on a flourishing career as a radio host and shared her story with captivated listeners, many of whom also had complicated family backgrounds. It gave them hope that they were not their past, but the future they grasped.